Yep. Welcome back to Talkin Sports. It's August 3rd. We are in it, boys. We're doing a deep dive into the hockey playoffs. No, we're not. Hockey's back. I hope you're enjoying it if you're a hockey fan. I dipped the toe in today. I can't lock in yet. Maybe later on in the playoffs. What we are diving in, the bubble. The bubble action is picked up. We each picked a couple storylines. And, baseball's going, kind of. We just got some Cardinals news. Your boy kind of broke that. We'll get into that. The NFL is always lurking, but I think we're going to be bubble heavy today, and I like that, boy. So let's do it. Bobby Skinner, Keith McPherson. Let's talk sports. How you doing, everybody, and welcome back. We are in it. We are in a sports world, guys. It feels good. I mean, this weekend was packed. I mean, flip on whatever you want. Baseball, a little hockey if you're into it. Basketball, Jakey UFC always comes out late night on Saturdays for some reason. And I'm here with the fellas, and we appreciate it, guys. Everyone tuning in, thank you. I know we had some tweets giving us some love, and someone tweeted at me and Keith from Yankees Twitter and was like, I need to see you guys do more stuff. We're like, hey, I got some good news for you. Go check out Talkin Sports. So you've been listening. We appreciate it. Leave a review. It helps. Let's send it around. Keith McPherson, the Mac of all trades. How you doing, dude?
Yo, I'm good, bro. Like you said, sports are back on, and I'm not going to sleep. I'm telling my girl, like, every night, like, are you coming to sleep? Are you going to bed? Not until these games are final. And that means, not until the baseball games are final, not until the NBA games are final. I said on Twitter last night, there was great baseball, great basketball. Without sports, I'm not whole, and I am whole again. Like, a big chunk of my existence revolves around what goes on in these leagues. And you don't know what you've got until it's gone. Now that we've got it back, I value it even more, and I'm, like, ecstatic. I'm watching the Nuggets Thunder right now as we're recording this. Every day I'm pumped for the slate of NBA games, MLB games. They all count now. They're real. These guys are playing hard. There's highlights, and this is history. This is literally something that we may never get again. But honestly, I'm liking this bubble. Maybe they do this more often.
James Harden, he's liking that bubble. He's focused, Bobby Skinner.
He's killing it. My question, though, for you, as you mentioned in the start, what's up with you breaking news? I don't like that.
Well, I mean, let's be honest, and I think we could be semi-full disclosure on here. Well, semi-disclosure. I mean, it was essentially Plouffe. Plouffe got the news, and he's broken some news to some mixed reviews. And we don't like breaking news. We don't want to break news. It's zero fun. You're basically just hung out. The only reason I did it is that Trevor's pretty pissed that, like, we've been involved in some breaking news and they refuse to give us credit. And it's gotten funny at this point. Like, we don't want to do it. I like Trevor's reaction now. Like, when it officially broke, or, I mean, technically I officially broke it. If you look at the tweet that came out, it's 4 hours later, and it's less information than what I had. And all the passing and those guys gave him credit. And Plouffe gets so mad. He just, like, doesn't get it. He's
I
like,
could tell. It's kind of makes me laugh, honestly.
You had it. And I'm like, dude, like, I don't know if they're scared of us or I don't know what it is, but we're kind of not welcome to the party in that world, and that's fine. We don't want to be welcome.
I think it's because that's, like, what they do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was thinking about this the other day when Woj got suspended. And it's like, man, like, Woj, Schefter, I have, like, they're, like, two of, like, six people I have tweet notifications on for. And I don't care about their opinion at all, you know? So it's like that's their thing. And I think it really is like, no, like, you guys aren't coming into our territory with this, you know, and they have to, like, go through, like, 3-4 different things to confirm stuff. I think that's why they don't give you credit. But it is funny to see you can tell Trevor gets actually mad that they don't give you credit.
He just doesn't get it. And I mean, I do understand and I respect it. And especially with the big bomb Trevor had when sports was coming back. I mean, you do need to either leave yourself the wiggle room or whatever. And that's what I thought this was going to be, because we heard it was a big number. We heard it was around double digits. And so I figured that the Big J journalists were waiting to get the official number. And they didn't. That didn't come out till today. Yesterday, the guy that got credit for breaking it was like, rumors are there's more cases. And it's like, what? that's it. And I get it. There's a lot of people that tweet crap and just try to steal credit, but at the same time, like, we are a media company. We got some blue checkies and stuff. So whatever. I'm
Do you want me
over
to
it.
threaten Jeff Passan from the Talkin Sports Twitter?
I mean, I threatened him this morning. Did you see that?
I didn't.
Did you see my hoops video? I threatened him to a one-on-one hoops game. If he wants to smoke, I'm ready for it. And hopefully some of the bubble teams saw that. Outside of that,
the same way that there's unwritten rules in baseball, there's unwritten rules in baseball media. Like, these guys don't want you guys breaking news on a Sunday without the proper sources and giving them the heads up. I'm sure they have this like journalists, baseball writers report chat where they all are like, who's got it first? Because they always do try and give people the proper credit. But no, they don't want to see John Boy Media doing that. I still believe that when Trevor Plouffe came out and said, hey, baseball will be back, what was it, that we were supposed to go to training camp June 10th or July 10th, and like he had like hard dates on it. I'm like, oh, MLB conspired to make sure that that was incorrect. They made sure that didn't go down because that Plouffe bomb shook the world. So I like that we're like new media. I like that we're challenging these unwritten rules and these conventional norms, and they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do in the baseball world. John Boy Jake, John Boy Media, all of us, we've shaken up some things, and props to you for being first, even though they won't give you the credit. But
I've got, hey, Jeff Passan, credit Talking Jake, or what do you want me to fill it in with, Jake?
Or he will copy your hairstyle.
Already did Jeff Passan Day. Copy the suit.
I will take the suit from you.
I saw the picture of him the other day, like not wearing a suit, and he looked weird. I'll say that. So
Jake has seen him in real life.
I took the silly video this morning, shooting hoops, calling him out, and seeing if he wants to go one-on-one at winter meetings this year. And my calculated risk there is like, he's either the guy that just makes open shots or he's terrible. So we'll see. He hasn't taken the cheese on that yet, but that's a little behind the scenes into the John Boy Media reporting world. Speaking of, guys, I want to get to the bubble, so I think we should knock out the other stuff first. Football news, we had Stafford with COVID. People thought he was opting out. That was the tweet. I sent it to you guys, but I think he's on it, so we'll see if that turns into anything. And then the Doug Peterson news blew me away, that he found out he had it, and then he called a meeting with people, and then I believe he passed it along. I couldn't believe that was a real tweet. I've checked all the fake accounts and things like that.
Was it an in-person meeting or virtual? Because I know like the NFL's doing like a lot of virtual meetings right now.
He did something in person. He called people together to tell them that he had COVID, and I think they can trace it, and I think he passed it along, which is like all-time.
Philly gonna Philly. Philly gonna Philly.
I love it.
NFC East chat here. What else? Before the show, Keith started rambling about them Cowboys, because that's what Cowboy fans do. What you guys catch me up?
The Mike McCarthy era has begun. And as a Cowboys fan, I was saying before we started, like, it's kind of shitty that you hire a new coach. You know, we haven't had a new coach in a decade, and you hire a new coach, and then the coronavirus hits, and this guy's behind the 8 ball on meeting his players. He just for the first time got in the same room with the veteran players. He just for the first time got to address the players and start that new mantra, start that new mentality. And I'm like, man, this year, I don't know. I got the Cowboys going 10-6. If we hit that, I'm cool with it. But it's going to be a challenge. It's a new coach, a new mentality, and everything has changed as far as how they're reporting, what they're doing in training camp. They have this social distancing factor in place. They have all these other precautions and measurements to like keep guys safe. And this is football. These guys are used to being literally right next to whoever on the team, a coach, being packed in meeting rooms, being packed in locker rooms, weight training rooms, practice all day, every day. And now it's going to be completely different. And I don't think that's any way to prepare for an NFL season. So we're going to get a wild one. I'm seeing other teams reporting across the league. And, you know, some people are saying, oh, the NFL needs to do a bubble. They're not going to do a bubble. I'm like, I don't know how many times I have to say it. The NFL does not care. The NFL is their own private establishment, thing, company, business. They're going to push through this thing, and we'll see what happens.
We power through. NFL, I mean, there's only so many things they can do, so they're doing what they can right now. a couple more weeks of just like, no shoulder pads, no actual like real practices, just walkthroughs and stuff. So I think it really comes down to the same thing with baseball. Hopefully they can learn from that. It's like, hey, if you guys are reckless, this is going to happen and you're going to end up ruining a season. And I think that has been the tone. Like, I know people got mad at Manfred for the I'm not a quitter line because it was kind of like a cringy line. But I actually agreed with him with the thought of like, hey, like players, you guys are the ones who like are going, like, the Cardinals supposedly were out of casino, Marlins are doing their thing. It's like if this gets ruined, it's because of you guys. So I actually agreed with him on that, and I think it's same with the NFL. It's a lot of people to handle, but they're preaching sacrifices. There's a lot of money on the line for the players and the league, and hopefully they can figure it out somehow.
Jordan Reed signs with the Niners. Injured every
ends.
year.
Oh, he's got concussion and turf toe permanently. So
he when he was right, he was fun. Yeah, and Bobby, I really don't think there's a ton of football, and I think you've kind of brought us to baseball. And you're right. I mean, any Manfred quote is going to get torn apart, especially when he starts it off saying, "I'm not a quitter." Oh,
yeah, I mean, it was like a corny line, so everyone stuck to that. But I agreed with what he was saying for the most part.
To a degree, I mean, part of his job is to make the guidelines so, safety is in theory supposed to be his top priority for the players. And clearly we know the world around it does not revolve that way. So yes, the onus is on the players. And I think I saw Heyman tweet out today that road players will be kept in their hotel rooms or something. So we've hit that point. I don't know if that was real or just Heyman going off the deep end. But yeah, I mean, we've hit the point, and I guess the good news is, and this is maximum Jakey spin zone, is that we now kind of have a plan in place if this does happen. It feels like it's okay. Positive COVID test, we take them for 2 or 3 more days. We confirm who does have it. We confirm if there's any more. Then there's 2 or 3 days of kind of recovery period / figure out what the team's going to do. And then it's a week out from baseball. The Yankees are about to play the Phillies tonight. 8 days off the field for them. They get to face Garrett Cole. Good luck with that. Yeah, man, I don't know how that transfers to football because, I mean, if a baseball team can kick it to half the guys in a couple of days, I mean, if that happens on a football field and there's 26 dudes, I don't know. But so, yeah, I kind of led us into baseball, and then I took us right back out with that. So that's just bad podcast hosting. So whoever wants it.
For Manfred, like, he's just got to shut up. Like, any statements coming from him, like, don't try and displace blame on anyone else. You're to blame for everything. We literally blame everything on you, and rightfully so. So you saying you're not a quitter, like, you're not playing, and you also don't have the respect to be like, we're in this now, and we're going to push all the way through. Maybe have better protocols. Maybe have stricter punishments for people that are breaking the system in place or what you guys are doing. You also were the one to put out there that this season would get canceled if guys don't get it under control. We're not trying to cancel the season. We're not trying to do any of that. So with baseball, I think we're going to push ahead. Obviously, we've now seen that this Rubik's Cube of a schedule can be shifted and changed. We were supposed to be playing the Baltimore Orioles tonight, tomorrow, the next day. Now we're playing the Phillies instead. We were supposed to play Baltimore on the road. We went and knocked that out when we were supposed to play the Phillies. Man, I am just trying to stay positive. I'm staying away from any negative tweets about the season. I'm staying away from anyone that's just saying anything against the season finishing, obviously, because the Yankees have the best record in baseball and who looks like the best player in baseball, Aaron Judge. Yeah, we got to finish this thing out. I'm trying to have a parade.
I agree. Let's kill Rob Manfred.
Kill Rob Manfred. What okay, bring it back to football a little bit, Bobby. What happens? Because baseball, I said, okay, we kind of have the plan now. It's a week long. Figure out who's sick, get him out of there. Figure out who's clean, keep him. Bring in more clean guys. 1 week later, play some baseball. What would football do? I mean, you can't just cancel a football game, would they?
You can move bye weeks help. You can move stuff around like that. We saw a couple years ago when we had the hurricane week 1 and the Dolphins and the Bucks had to move their stuff around. But the difference is the NFL is you're not traveling 3 days at a time. You're traveling the night before. You wake up, you play the game, and then you fly out that night. So you don't have to deal with these guys traveling from city to city. And they fly their own planes and stuff. So it's not like they're jumping on with, Spirit Airlines and getting on with the common folk. So it's really just a discipline on themselves to not be going out and doing things, which, I mean, that's kind of hard to do with 53 guys on a team and coaches as well. But I mean, I don't know. We've never done this before, so I don't know what they're going to do.
That's I don't know. The bye weeks is interesting. I wonder, there hasn't been a bunch of schedule talk. I wonder if they could try to schedule a double bye week or something like that to give teams more flexibility, because that would I don't know. That seems like that would give them a little extra flex if they needed to dance. Because the other thing is, I mean, we saw the Yankees audible and go play the Orioles just because both teams were sitting around. And it's like, okay, baseball, figure out who's pitching, get a game plan. Football doesn't work like that.
No. And
but I mean, you could push the season back a couple weeks. I don't know.
I think they're just going to push ahead. It's going to be in the fall. This country is going to be in a different place. We're going to be in election time. I mean, people are going to be doing what they want to do, saying what they want, living how they want, and the NFL is going to push ahead. I had a thought that, hey, there are cities like New Jersey, East Rutherford, where a team can come here and play the Jets, play the Giants. LA, they could play the Rams, play the Chargers, but the schedules are already set. They're going to push through with the plan. I think Joe Judge came out and said, we've got 16 games on the schedule, and we plan on playing all 16 and winning a quarter of them, and that's just fine.
Three quarters of them we will win. Yeah, I don't know. I'm so tired of pretending to figure out stuff about Corona. I really am. I'm just so over it.
Let's go to the one league that has figured it out, the NBA with the bubble. I mean, they're looking like geniuses right now. If you are one of the people yelling, like give Adam Silver credit, but not for the bubble. I mean, like MLB could not do a bubble. I mean, NFL cannot do a bubble. They bubbled up. It was the right move for them, and it has been a good product. And Bobby, this idea came out of the Skinner wormhole, and you kind of wanted us each to pick a couple topics. I don't know if we want to reverse engineer this. I think the Rockets are the story right now. I don't know if we want to start there or end there.
Yeah. Let's start there.
Let's start there.
Okay, I'm going to go for it because I've been running hot on this. I'm in on the Rockets, not necessarily because I believe. Although when you tell me they shot the most 3-point attempts in a game, they got out rebounded almost double by the Bucks. By the Bucks, the 1 seed in the East, and they beat them in regulation. I'm starting to think they're going to break basketball. I think they've used the computer and they might break the game. And we've got Harden in the bubble. He's not spending the late nights out. I mean, Russ is always in sicko mode. But what if they've broken basketball? And if they do, I'm here for it.
They're trending in that way. This team came into the bubble without Russ and Harden. Those two had COVID. That made us think. I know me, I'm completely wrong. I was thinking that there was going to be more trouble with that. I was saying that they would possibly fall out of the 6th seed, be the 7th seed, and that the Mavericks would jump them. The Mavericks look like shit. The Rockets look great. They've played the most exciting games. They beat the Mavericks in that overtime game, and then they beat the Bucks. And there was so much on the line Sunday, just with the chatter between Giannis and Harden back in February before All-Star started, that I was excited just to see what that was like. Rockets come out on top. They asked Harden after the game, how hard was it to guard Giannis? And he said, next question. Now, we all know what Harden had to say about, him not being that skilled and him wishing that he could just go dunk. But to see it on the court, to see the Rockets and the Bucks on the court, and Giannis was doing his thing. He was stepping back, shooting. Obviously, no one can really stop him. But they contained him enough, and there was not enough around him where this small ball that the Rockets play, it's fun. And they have a bunch of guys that can do it. Think about this. Eric Gordon is hurt, but he's not out. Like, he sprained his ankle. Eric Gordon comes back in like 2 weeks, and they already have Russ, Harden, Covington, Macklemore, Austin Rivers. All those guys I saw hit threes in that game. They can shoot. They can move the ball. They're faster than guys. Like, their style of basketball and what they're doing, I hate for Houston to have nice things because I hate the Astros so much. But if I was in Houston right now, I'd be all in on the Rockets. I'm in Jersey right now. I'm all in on the Rockets. I like what they're doing.
So when you guys say you're in on the Rockets, do you say like number 3 team in the West, or like, hey, they might be able to take Lakers, Clippers down?
They might be able to surprise. Like, at this rate, they can surprise anyone. They got 2 MVPs on their team. The style that they're playing, it becomes a matchup nightmare for teams. I wouldn't sleep on them, man. They play the whole game, and like they might go down for a little bit, but they know Harden can bring them back. Like the way Harden plays, like when it's crunch time, he hit one three to tie the game late in that game, and I'm like, I knew that was coming. Like, do not leave him open, and do not let him dictate the game. A 9-point lead against the Rockets is nothing.
I think Chris Mannix, I think I'm stealing this for him. He said Russ is a great number 1 scorer for 3.5 quarters, and you just don't want him at the end of the game. So Russ can do so much work for them while Harden does his thing. Bobby, to answer your question, I don't know. I'm rooting for it. Like, I want to see Lakers-Houston pretty bad. Because, like, imagine if they did break the computer and break basketball, and LeBron and AD, these 2 physical specimens, lose to the Rockets with everyone 6'6" and under. That'd be nuts.
The Rockets are fun, man. When they went to the small ball at the trade deadline, they reeled off what it was 7 in a row or whatever, or 7-1. But then, man, it started to struggle. They were. I mean, I think the Knicks beat them. I mean, they were losing to bad teams.
The Nets beat them.
Yeah, they were losing to bad teams. So I'm all in on the Rockets being like, hey, after, these teams, they are really good. But at the end of the day, the Lakers, the Clippers, and the Bucks, I just give them no shot in the 7-game series. I mean, the Mavs, they're so bad on defense. I mean, like you said, they got out-rebounded by 30. But the Mavs, they gave up 139 points in regulation. If Harden makes his last free throw, they lose that game in regulation. They were down by 7 with 45 seconds left. And I get you win, I'm not going to fault the team for coming back in the last second. But with the Bucks, they were down by 6 and 3 left, and then they got the free throw line like 20 times to finish that game. Shot 61 3-pointers. Like you said, I mean, it's nuts. But at the end of the day, that small ball, it's pesky for one game, Like even like the trees, like Brook Lopez, like that small ball is pesky. But 7-game series, man, they're going to figure that out, especially those 3 teams. I mean, if there's injuries happens to those other 2 teams, yeah, give them a shot. But I think those 3 teams, I don't even think the Bucks are guaranteed to come out of the East. But if those 3 teams in a 7-game series, I just don't give the Rockets any chance. I mean, it's fun. I guess it's kind of cool to watch, even though it can be frustrating at times. But I just don't give them any real shot. But at the same time, I don't think that's too big of a knock either. Those are the 3 best teams in the NBA. So if you can't beat them, doesn't mean you suck.
Right, and they just got the Bucks last night. I think the thing that my mind has no idea if it's going to work, but I'm fascinated by it. It's almost the anti-Belichick, and I'll do a weird Jakey Cross Sports. Belichick's thing for years has been he's going to take away your number 1 thing you like to do. Houston doesn't care what you do at all. Right. They're going to Houston, and it's funny because they're going to do their thing, and they're going to challenge you, play how you normally want, and that's playing into their hands. And if you try to play small with them, you're not going to have the small ball lineup to go with them. So that plays into their hands. So I think playing Houston is kind of a mind fuck right now. Bobby, I have no idea how far it goes. I'm rooting for it just because I want it to break the code in the NBA to make new rules because Houston's ruining basketball. But I guess that's just kind of the anarchist coming out.
They're going to score
I'm all
points.
for seeing some crazy things. You put AD against that in a 7-game series.
Yeah.
And I get they beat Giannis last night. I just don't give them a chance. And I don't feel like that's some huge knock on them. I think it's pretty cool that they're actually trying this. But those 3 teams, I don't give them a chance in a 7-game series.
They're going to score points. It's going to come down to I think LeBron and AD can bully them and, hold the ball longer and have possession of the ball more than them. It's like if you get into this back and forth game with them shooting and running up and down the court, you don't want to be chasing Russell Westbrook all game, and you don't want to have to check Harden at the top of the key. It's just I don't know. Watching them play, I don't know how long they can sustain this. I know that some team is going to match up with them and check them, but so far these first 2 games in the bubble that they've played, scoring 120 last night against the Bucks and 153 Friday night against the Mavericks. I was highly entertained watching both of those games. And like Jake says, breaking basketball, break it. I love it. It's fun to watch. Like, that's what the NBA wants to see. You got 2 MVPs. Like I said, they got guys like House dropping 20 last night. Like, if Austin Rivers is hitting open threes and Ben McLemore, like, that's a problem for teams. You can't guard everyone. Like I said, Eric Gordon will be back in a week or two. If they can keep it up, they are going to shake up the West a little bit. It's going to come down to seeding, and we'll see where they land. But so far, they are the story of the bubble team-wise. What do you guys got as far as, like, I don't know, the next thing for maybe players or other themes in the bubble?
I want to go to Bobby's Magic. Bobby, Isaac goes down the other day. That sucks. You put down your Magic as one of the topics. Bring me there.
Well, they're just a good team, man. And we'll start with Isaac. I mean, that sucks, dude, because he got hurt on January 1st, first game of the year against Toronto. Comes back, they got him on limited minutes, and he was like in the first. He only played one scrimmage game. He had 13 points in 7 minutes against the Nets. He had 16 points in 16 minutes on 6 of 7 shooting. And then for him to go down, I mean, that just sucks for a young guy, for a Magic team that. They love Jonathan Isaac, and I know he was in the news on Friday, but he's just an awesome young player for that team. But, man, the Magic, I know they've played 2 bad teams in the Nets and the Kings, but they are playing really well. Like, if the Raptors weren't playing so well, I would pick them to beat the Raptors in the first round. I really would. I mean, they got Vooch down low, who's, one of those, like, he mixes old school, like, one of the only guys that still posts up in the game, but he could also, like, step it out. Aaron Gordon's been playing well. Fournier and Ross. I mean, they've just been playing really, like, it's been great team basketball. It seems like they're the team that has been clicking the most. They don't have the most talent, but they have just been playing, like, perfect basketball these first couple games.
But who did they play? The Brooklyn Nets.
2 bad teams and the Kings
the Sacramento Kings.
And the Nets.
Now, don't get me wrong. I've watched the Magic. They have a lot of NBA talent on their team. They have a bunch of guys that can go out there and score and play. We'll see how they do against the Pacers tomorrow. But going back to Joshua or Jonathan Isaac,
I would pick them in a series over the Pacers. It won't happen, but like I view them right now as the number 4 team in the East.
They're the 8th seed. They're going to take the 7th seed from
They're the
Nets.
7 right now.
I don't know. I'm not big on the Magic. I think they're going to end up the 7th seed, and I think they're going to get washed by the Raptors. The Raptors beat LeBron, and showed that Kyle Lowry, Spicy P, the rest of these guys.
Since when did we call Pascal Siakam Spicy P? I never knew that until the other night.
He's been Spicy P for at least a year.
I've never called him that in person.
I just called him Spicy P on the pod.
P.
He's been Spicy P for a little while now.
Spicy.
But where was I going? Oh, I wanted to speak
P.
on Jonathan Isaac, man. It's a rough situation, and I hate the internet. I actually was tweeting that, like, Twitter needs to change some of the rules about, like, who you are on Twitter, what you can tweet, what you can say, because as soon as that young man got hurt, I knew that the people were going to come out of the woodwork to say it was, like, karma for him not taking a knee. I'm just so tired of this, like, national anthem and this knee conversation. Do what you want, feel how you want about it, but do not attack somebody that decides to just not participate because of their own religious reasons. Religion trumps all for most people that are religious people. And he, is a young guy. Like, I even wrote on Bleacher Report's post when, people were coming out, and it was like, I guess, like the MAGA people or the, people that are against people kneeling were coming out and saying, like, oh yeah, good for him, not being a sheep, not conforming, not just falling in line. And then there was a lot of Black Lives Matter people saying, oh, he should have taken a knee. I said, no, this guy chose what he chose to do for religious reasons. And then he spoke on it, and he spoke well on it, like, leave him alone. Then he gets hurt, and all you see is the internet people come out to say, oh, he didn't want to take a knee, God took his knee. It's just, like, in such bad taste. It, like, ruins sports for me, and I'm tired of it. Like, I just wish people could like stay out of it. Like, you don't even know who this guy is. You weren't paying attention to him. You didn't know who he was until he stood up when everyone else was taking a knee. And now you guys want to jump on him because a torn ACL happens, which happens in every sport every year. It's just ridiculous. So speedy recovery for him. I hope he does get another shot because he's young and he did miss most of this season. And it sucks to see that happen for him because, like I said, everybody knows him now for not taking a knee and then hurting his knee. But I don't think the Magic are going to do much. I think they're bounced in the first round of the playoffs. I think they're going to meet the Raptors, and like I said, they haven't played anybody.
Yeah, Bobby, I hate to play like the star power type card because I think a good basketball team when they're operating is one of the most fun things in sports. But honestly, in a playoff game, not a regular season, a playoff game, I think the dude that would fear me the most on the Magic is like Terrence Ross. Like Fournier is fun and Gordon's athletic and Vucevic does what he does, but like I don't know, they're not scaring me.
Markel
I mean, but
Fultz.
the Pacers scaring you either? I get T.J. Warren's been going off.
T.J.
Like,
Warren
Oladipo can figure it out.
but he's been playing. Oladipo's been playing bad since he came back.
He's
So
got to
like,
figure it out. They need
and the
him.
Sixers are just a mess. Like right now,
And kind of that's my other thing on this topic. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm not taking these 7-8 game results very seriously. Like I heard there's some NBA people that are down on the Clippers right now. I'm like, they don't care. It's Kawhi and Paul George. Like they'll be there when they need to be there. And that's why I'm not taking some of this stuff so seriously. But we did bring us into one of our 6 topics, the old 6-topic segment. TJ Warren show just throws it in our face, Bob. Just my face. You had him.
Yeah.
You had him appropriately ranked as the 6th best third scorer in the East.
Never would put him as a 7. That's just disrespectful.
Good for him, man. He gets buckets, and more so. And hey, I'm throwing shade at TJ Warren. I guess he's going off right now as we record. Dude, a lot of it was on Ben Simmons, who's supposed to be an All-NBA defender, and people were saying he looks like the best player in the bubble right now. So I don't know. I'm kind of on a. I've been trying to defend the Sixers. I'm bringing my TJ Warren is good argument to the Sixers kind of stink.
Yeah, the TJ Warren has 34 points with 6 minutes left. So my man is a baller. We may have to put him in that like where does he rank as the first best player on team's argument next year?
All NBA.
The Sixers, I don't know what the deal is, man, because I saw people criticizing Embiid. It's like, dude, he had 41 points and 21 rebounds. Like, I get you may not want him closer to the basket a little more, but I'm not going to criticize a guy who does that. But they're going to fire Brett Brown. It's just a mess, dude. They can't figure out how to use Simmons with Embiid. They started Shake Milton, who had like 0 points in 18 minutes. And I was watching the game, and the announcer cracked me up. And in the third quarter, he's like, the Sixers' only defensive plan is just to hope guys don't miss their shots, and it's not working. I mean, for a team that should have all these defensive players, Horford has just been a total disaster, making over $100 million for them. I don't know what you do with the Sixers. I'm not like a trade Simmons or trade Embiid guy, but you got to fire Brett Brown. And I just don't know what that team does. I mean, it's the most talented team in the East. I mean, you look at them as like go play NBA 2K and take Eastern Conference teams, and I'm taking the Sixers. But they're can't figure it out.
Yeah, I have no love for the Sixers. They got watched by TJ Warren, and I want to hit on a few things. You know, it came up that TJ Warren was traded for cash considerations, and like that was the whole theme of like him going off and that trade with the Suns. And good for TJ Warren, but also don't forget TJ Warren also has to go face the Heat and Jimmy Buckets. So Jimmy Buckets and TJ Warren, you guys remember, got into it a little bit, and he was basically saying he's sorry, he can't check me. That game is on August 10th. It's a week from today. Pacers versus Heat. Do not miss that game. I can't wait to see what Jimmy Buckets does on the court.
Jimmy Butler will lock him up.
Yeah,
I'm a Jimmy Buckets guy.
I am too. That's why I'm like, so like he might get a hard dose of reality come August 10th. I have that one circled. But also I have in my notes, these games aren't the same for everybody. When Jake said, there's NBA people that are saying like some of these like these are tune-up games. Some of these teams are locked pretty much into their positions or know they're in the playoffs. And I say that to say this. The Nets yesterday beat the Wizards, and that might be the only game the Nets win in the bubble.
It will be.
Karis LeVert had 34 points. Jared Allen had 22 points, and Joe Harris had 27 points. And guess what? Tomorrow, they're all sitting.
Jake, did you see that?
Those 3 guys will be on the bench. You know why?
They're taking all 3 of those guys out.
We're playing
rest.
the Bucks.
Guys.
We're playing the Bucks. So who is actually going to be on the court? Because Jamal Crawford isn't cleared yet to play.
No, and Jamal Crawford is not playing. He's not going to play. They signed him, and they're not playing him. I don't know why they did it.
That's a
I don't know
whole
Vaughn
nother
hates
thing.
Crawford.
Get ready
I tweeted
for playoff
out.
Jamal.
No way,
I don't
dude.
know
It's just like
what's
we
going
signed these
on.
players. Even Dante Hall. The Nets signed Dante Hall. We haven't seen him yet. I'm like, why is Zion on a pitch count and Jamal Crawford can't be on a pitch count? If Zion is playing little 5-minute spurts, can't we play Jamal Crawford like that at 40 versus 20? Like, I just don't get it. So that's why I'm saying these games are not the same for everybody. Each team is using them differently and doing different things here. I'm enjoying it, though. I like it a lot. I feel like Zion is getting the Steven Strasburg treatment. As you baseball fans listening remember, Steven Strasburg, actually it came full circle now that he won his World Series, but, they had him on a pitch count when he was first in the postseason. But Zion had a quote. He says, "As soon as I start to break that sweat, I look over and that horn is for me and I have to come out the game. I'm a competitor. I want to stay on the court." The Pelicans are trying to win games. They have played competitive, but at the end of the game in crunch time, he's not on the court. Now, they lost that game, what was it, to the Clippers? And I was like, probably should have Zion in late in this game. Like, they played a competitive game. Was it against the Clippers? I'm going back. No, it wasn't against the Clippers. It was against the Jazz. They got smoked by the Clippers, but they played close with the Jazz. And I'm like, who could actually, I don't know, make some type of impact in this 2-point game that you lost? Zion Williamson.
Bobby Skinner with the tweet of the year from Talkin Sports so far. They invited 6 extra teams to the bubble just to get Zion in the playoffs, and his coach won't play him.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I want to talk about the 8 seed in the West, which is Pelicans, Grizzlies, Spurs, unbelievably, and then Blazers. But I want to go back to the Nets. The Nets signed Jamal Crawford, Michael Beasley, and myself, and I honestly think I've had more of an impact than any of those guys to this point. I mean, I played just as many minutes. It's just been – I don't understand. I think Jock Vaughn just hates him. And he's like, why did you make me sign – why did you make me bring in this 41-year-old into the team?
It's probably Kyrie's fault.
I think you guys are going to eat crow on this one. I mean, we did this a week ago with a very different player. It was James Harden, and we were talking how he's not in the bubble, he's out of shape. And I said, James Harden knows how to do one thing. It's get buckets anywhere, anytime. Jamal Crawford does the same thing on a much different level. Jamal Crawford's going to be getting buckets for the Nets in the playoffs.
Jake, you're right. And I will say,
here's our inaccuracies. KD, Kyrie, Dinwiddie, LeVert, DeAndre Jordan, Jared Allen.
This is the Nets. This is like the Nets, like JV backups.
Wilson,
but
our best 11 players are out tomorrow.
Look for this with Jamal Crawford. If you're on Twitter, go to the Players Tribune. They dropped this video with Jamal Crawford talking about his legacy and his time in the league, and he is really ready for this next chapter. But I don't know what the Brooklyn Nets plan is for him. Maybe it's just I
don't think they know.
Release the Kraken in the playoffs. Release Jay Crossover in the playoffs. Not now, because like I said, I don't think we're going to win another game in the bubble.
My favorite thing was Jamal Crawford after they beat the Wizards, who were the only team worse than the Nets. He said, "This shows that we can take a punch." It's like, well, first of all, Jamal Crawford, who is we? You haven't played a second for the Nets.
You've been practicing.
You beat the Wizards. I mean, they're the only team that was worse than us, and they lost Bradley Beal and Bertans.
Burton's, Bradley Beal, and John Wall are not playing. So it just
shows we're the second worst team in the bubble. I don't know. And who is like I said, Jamal Crawford. No one can ever come at me for saying we about my teams again if Jamal Crawford's allowed to say we.
Meanwhile, get ready for the Davis Bertans, Fred VanVleet Knicks next year. That's a little preview. Can't wait for those contracts to come out. What else? What else? We led into the Nets. I'm done with that. TJ Warren, any closing thoughts there? No. Let's see Jimmy Butler shut him down. Bobby, you flinched when we said Jimmy Butler's going to shut him down. Are you in on Jimmy Buckets?
Oh yeah, I'm all in on Jimmy.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Here's one for you guys.
Butler just like taking it so personally against TJ Warren.
So coaches of the year, Budenholzer from the Bucks gets coach of the year in the East. But then Billy Donovan is coach of the year in the West with OKC. Well deserved Whoa.
Noodles in our
Noodle,
Thunder.
yeah, Noodle heard that Billy Donovan.
Holy
He's like,
smokes.
Florida
he's
Gators
like,
fan.
yeah.
Old Gators, man.
Go Gators. Right. So we know Billy Donovan with the Gators, championship coach. But I'm watching the Thunder right now. This is a tight game, but they got the lead by 1. They're not going to cover that 6-point spread. But you have to marvel at what Billy Donovan has done with this team. And people are talking about Chris Paul and MVP conversations. Like, no one thought OKC stood a chance. And they're competitive, and they might make some noise in the playoffs. So go Thunder.
Bill Simmons gets lost in some of that stuff because I heard people saying Chris Paul's going to finish 5th in the MVP this year, and I kind of don't care. Like, after a certain point, like, you're just kind of giving dudes votes, and I don't know. I guess it's something, but I don't know. I was hearing some stats about it, and I think when Chris Paul isn't on the court, they're atrocious. So fresh Chris Paul is a very good thing for them, but I'm guessing the story ends how everything ends. I mean, Chris Paul, at this age, I think they're going to try to play him 40 minutes a night in the playoffs, and I don't think CP3's body's got that in him.
Court General.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, the Rockets would be singing a different tune if his knees didn't crap out. What was that, 2 years ago? Sure. I don't know. I'm rooting for OKC. I took them here. I wish I didn't. They're up by 3. They're not going to cover unless something miraculous happens in this next minute. What else was I going to say about the bubble?
Play Terrence Ferguson.
I mean, you want to talk about the 8th seed in the West?
I think that's the only big topic we've missed. Bobby, you go on it.
My young Grizz, dude. I love the Grizzlies. They're like my favorite young team. And John Morant has he's so fast, and he's just like in the game against Portland, he's sprinting down with the ball, man. If he just slows it down for a second, he has an easy little floater into the bucket, and they win that game. And he's just so fast for his own good. He goes to gather and just trips, and they go to overtime, and then the Blazers take it. And then against the Spurs, Jaren Jackson hits this beautiful contested 3 to tie the game with 4 seconds left. And then DeMar DeRozan on the other side does a pump fake, and Brooks just jumps right into him. He gets 2 free throws and win. So the Grizzlies are probably going to have to play in that little play-in series for the 8th seed with I don't know who. I mean, people are really high on the Blazers. I get it. Dame's awesome. CJ's awesome, but I don't know. It was funny to see Nurkic just throw the ball out of the bounds against the C's last night. And then the Spurs are just winning games, which is funny. They're not playing anyone. They played the Kings and then, the Grizzlies last night. But everyone completely wrote them off, and right now they're the ones that are in position to play for that 8th seed. And then the Zion and the Pelicans are just garbage at this point.
I think the way it shakes out, unfortunately, the 2 Rookie of the Year guys, Morant and Zion, don't make the playoffs. The Spurs, Pop, he's going to coach the Spurs hard. I think I took the Spurs in the game tonight. And then I do like the Trailblazers. They have veterans. They have guys that can shoot it. If it's Dame time, it's only Dame time. They almost beat the Celtics. I had them beating the Celtics the other night, and that was yesterday. That was a competitive game. I think the way it shakes out, Zion misses the playoffs, and so does Morant in his first year. And I think tonight we see San Antonio versus the Sixers. I actually got San Antonio there. And then I think Tuesday we see Portland versus the Rockets, and that's gonna be threes. Man, I can't wait. I love this bubble. I love that all of these guys are playing in the same place and they can line up these games. I wish they could figure out some way to do this again. I know this is under coronavirus and that's how this happened, but this is fun. It's exciting to watch.
I think, if somehow the Trailblazers make it, and if I'm the Lakers, I'm so pissed off.
Yeah, you don't want that.
With Nurkic back, I mean, the Trailblazers, how high did they get? Did they get a 3 seed at one point in the West? I mean, they were getting wins. I forget if it was last year or 2 years ago. So if that happens and I'm the Lakers, I'm pissed. The other thing, and it kind of comes back to what we're talking about, teams caring, like who cares right now? The Nets' top 11 rotation guys are currently out. I mean, I think the Grizzlies care. I think they've got so many young guys, and they've had kind of a fuck you season, whether it's Ja to Zion or just Andre Iguodala not playing with them. Like, they're going for it. That Ja Morant alley-oop the other day was awesome. So I'd have my top teams that care in the bubble so far would be the Grizzlies number 2 and TJ Warren number 1.
Don't forget the Orlando Magic. Yeah, the Grizz, man. I mean, Jaren Jackson has had 33 and then 25 in the first 2 games. John Morant, 22 points, 11 assists, 25 points, 9 assists. They just haven't been able to close the deal, man. And it's been heartbreaking for me because I've been wanting to watch them play well.
Boys.
I don't got much else. It's been fun to watch. What I think is cool too is that with the different, Black Lives Matter, equality, ally, unity on the back of these guys' jerseys, I feel like I'm watching the games even harder, and it's like it's raising my like NBA player awareness and knowledge because you have to really watch to be like, is that Mike Conley? Is that Paul? No, okay, yeah, Paul Millsap. Okay, all right, I see Michael Porter Jr. out there. Like, I'm just looking from my own screen right now. Like, I think that's cool. It's like, I don't know, it makes you have to like have a deeper knowledge of the players and who's on the court.
Yeah, man, the bubble's been good.
Is that
so
Dion
far.
Waiters taking 9 shots in a row?
Wow.
J.R. Smith, Dion Waiters.
Can't believe we didn't get Bobby Dion Waiters going. That's his guy. And that'll be for next episode. We'll save that for either Sunday or Sundays have been getting busy for us, so they may be on a different day. And we're also keeping in mind football, which we wouldn't record before Sunday football. So we're figuring that out on our end. Baseball is here, and as Bobby unfortunately reminded us, this company circles around baseball, so we're figuring it out. But good stuff, guys. Good talking some bubble, even some Orlando Magic. Go check out Bobby Skinner, Keith McPherson, all the Talking Sports stuff. We got clips, we got tweets, we got everything. Thank you, guys. We'll see you soon.